Welcome back to the Mix of Music Podcast. I am your host, Dee Kei Mixes. Some people call me Big Daddy D. Some people call me Donkey Kong. But no one ever calls me that sissy man over there. No one calls me that loser that can't even get to level World 8 in the original Super Mario Brothers. Some people have called me short and small because I am a solid 5'8". You know what's crazy is that this podcast episode, I'm wearing the sunglasses again. If you've listened to the exclusive episodes, there was an episode where I was talking my shit because I felt empowered by my sunglasses that I wear. My running sunglasses. These are what I exercise with, what I run with, and I feel empowered. I feel like the douchebag that I look like a douchebag, and I identify as a douchebag when I wear these sunglasses. So this episode, I'm not giving a shit. I am not giving a fuck about your feelings, and I'm going to tell you some hot takes. The point of this episode, short episode about some hot takes. The real shit. Shit that none of your friends are ever going to tell you, because guess what? They're not your real friends, because they're not honest enough to call it what it is, which is you just being a whiny little bitch. All right. First up on the plate, we got Linhart97 on Twitch says, hot take on ear versus gear. Here's a hot take on ear versus gear. Guess what? Two things actually. I'm gonna say two things. One, sometimes it is about the gear. Okay, I'm gonna start with that. If your computer still runs on Windows 97, right? It may be about the gear. If you're running on a MacBook built in the Stone Ages, it may be about the gear, okay? If you're running a mic on Amazon that has 3 stars that costs $25, it may be the gear, okay? If you have a little sister or a little brother that is coming into your rooms talking about how much they're excited for Pikmin 4, right? While you're recording, it may be about your environment, okay? Those are valid excuses. Okay? You know what's not a valid excuse? It's not a valid excuse. In fact, a non-practical excuse is even with valid excuses of gear, you should not blame your tools. And here's why. If you blame your tools, I'm in North America, and the great thing about the United States of America is culturally, we have this thing that if we as a people, as Americans, want to do something, we fucking do it regardless of whether we have the right tools. Here's the thing. In Japan, I'm Japanese, I'm an immigrant, right? From Japan, there's this thing where if you want to be a runner, and you're like, I've watched enough YouTube videos about runners, I'm going to be a runner. What happens is that they're not going to start running. Typically, the culture of Japanese people, they don't start running until they have the running shoes, the running socks, the running shorts, the running shirt, the sunglasses, the hat, the running hat, and all in coordinated colors. There's a sense of over-preparedness where they look fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. Look at me. Look at these shades. And if you aren't watching me, if you're listening to the podcast only, you got to subscribe on YouTube, right? You got to look at these sunglasses, these dual pink shades with some light blue on the sides. You know, these shades are crazy, right? And this new persona that's coming out when I wear these shades. Anyway, there's this thing. There's this thing that happens that's over-preparedness. We live in the United States of America where we don't give a fuck about over-prepared. If you want to skateboard, we will put some fucking we will steal some shopping carts, take those roller wheels and put it on a piece of 2x4. That's what we will do. That is the spirit of America. And here's the thing. The good thing about that, not blaming your tools, even if it actually is your tools, is what happens when you think that it is you and your own skill. even if it is actually valuable and actually real, that it may be your tools, is that you figure out ways to make it work regardless. When you take responsibility and get rid of your excuses, what happens is that you find yourself improving, getting better. And what on earth is better than self-improvement? Everybody has valid excuses. Oh my gosh, I grew up in the poor part of town. My parents are divorced. I am not white. Oh my gosh, I don't have this. I don't have this. I'm not talented enough. But you know who really cooks up good music? Yeah, the real ones that make a living off of anything or that are successful in finding personal fulfillment, even if it's not money, are the ones who never give a shit, even with valid excuses. So I'm going to tell you right now, quit being a little whiny bitch. Use what you have. Use what you have and get better every single day. If you really, really are as passionate, every single day I get interns. Every single goddamn day there's an email that's like, Dee Kei, I want to intern at your studio. I want to intern for you. And I'm like, I could throw a rock and it'll probably hit someone that wants to be an intern right in the face. Right in the face. And I don't even need to go to I could do that in a quiet suburban area and someone will want to intern from me. High demand. Working in audio is as cool as these sunglasses. You understand? It's as cool. Everybody wants to do it. That's why if you want to do it, prove it. If you want to do it, prove it. Show me. Show us. Show your parents. Make your ancestors proud of you for once. Here you are complaining when your great-grandpa didn't even have a dentist. That motherfucker was flossing with leaves, and you're complaining about your keyboard not working. You know what I'm saying? He had to wipe his ass after full-on diarrhea because he or she had to drink unclean water from the river. The only source of water that was available to... Here you are complaining about your student loans not being forgiven by the government. What the fuck kind of bullshit are you on? You have pet insurance, dog. Pet insurance is a real thing because nobody can handle the despair of an animal getting hurt. We live in 2023. Where the fuck is this entitlement coming from? Shit gets hard. Who gives a fuck? I don't care if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're from the gutters, from the top. I don't care if you are a SAS fund baby, if you're a trust fund baby. Shit is supposed to be hard. Did you think that the music career, trying to do something with music, was going to be easy? You understood going into this that this shit was going to be hard. You know? This shit was going to be hard. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the hard part that you signed up for. This shit right here is the hard part that you signed up for. And it's not going to get easier until it gets harder first. Again, I'm serious. Every time I get depressed or I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot handle this bullshit. This is so hard. I'm thinking about my grandparents who are still alive that had to eat cockroaches to survive during World War II. You know, I'm from Okinawa. Not only did we get taken over by Japan uncivilly, and I mean, everybody knows about Hawaii, how disrespectful America was to Hawaii, how America could have illegally taken over, probably unethically overthrown Hawaii. But nobody talks about how Japan unethically overthrew Okinawa because at the end of the day, Japan lost the war. Nobody talks about that shit. I'm on the losing team of the guy that lost. And here I am, still trying to do everything. I'm remembering the bullshit that my grandparents had to go. They're still alive because I'm Okinawan and they will never die. It's one of the few blue zones. We're not going to talk about it. Nobody in my family has died because they're all Okinawan. That's a whole separate... nobody in my family's going to die because they're healthy. And we're not going to get into that. Here's the thing. Fuck your excuses, right? I used to say this a couple years back before I left Utah. When I was in Utah, that was our saying at the studio. We'd always say, fuck your excuses, because everybody's got them. And everybody's excuses are valid. They're valid. Your excuses are valid, and that's the most dangerous part about excuses, is that they're valid. You have been discriminated against. That is a valid excuse to give up. That is a valid excuse to give up, and society wants you to give up. Your mom can't stand the thought of her baby boy or her baby girl getting hurt by these online bigots. Can't stand the thought. She wants you to give up. But if she's a real one, and some of y'all have real moms, she looks at danger right in the fucking eyeballs and says, my son or daughter can handle this bullshit, smacks you right in the ass, and you're back in the game. Back in the game. Now, taking the glasses off for a moment here, I do believe in respect, in understanding, in social consequences, in forms of justice. I do believe in equal opportunities for everyone. Glasses back on. Sorry. Okay, so to be fair, okay, another hot take right here. Maddie Kid 17 on Twitch says, "Hot take: tonal balance can be gaslighting." Well, what does that even mean, Maddie? What does that even mean? Hold on. Tonal balance can be gaslighting. What does that even mean? I don't quite understand what that means. All right. Tonal balance can be gaslighting. Okay, so going back until you properly, expand on your I cannot deduce from what you're saying. So expand on the topic there, but until we do that, let's keep going on with excuses. I do an episode about this every once in a while. About once or twice a year, I do an episode about this. I do an episode about your excuses. And life is hard. Life is hard. You know what's crazy narcissistic? Is for you to have problems with your life and you to even remotely think that nobody will ever understand you because your life is harder than anybody else's. You know what that shows? That is actually what psychologists would call narcissistic neuroticism. If you are depressed, which is a real thing, you need help, you need to get therapy. If you are suicidal, again, real thing. That is nothing to joke about. I know if you are creative, then you may be more likely to be actually depressed. So I'm talking real shit here for a second. Fuck the persona for a moment. If you're actually if you're depressed, you need to get your shit together. You need to find a therapist. It is important that you know that your life is important, that your potential of your future, even if it's fucking shit right now, we need you to keep living, dog. We need you to keep living. Okay, that is no joke. That is no joke. Humans have values not because that we are human. Humans don't intrinsically have value just because we're humans and because we have a conscience. We have values because we have opinions, that we believe and love things that are fucking weird. Our opinions. We shape the world. You may do something in your life. You may say something to someone that encourages them. You may call them out on something. Your value is your existence. So please, for the love of all that is holy, get some help. I'm serious if that is your case. But if you are the type of person that says, when I die, everybody's going to be more guilty and upset than they will grieve over me, that is a form of narcissistic neuroticism, and you need to hit reality right in the fucking face. Or sorry, reality is going to hit you in the face. My bad. If you're the type of person that if we have to dig to the center of the earth and we find you, you're going to get burned, dog. You're going to get burned. Because at the end of the day, one of the secrets with growing your music career is collaboration. And how can you collaborate? If you believe that you can do this and build an empire by yourself, we got some delusional motherfuckers out in this world. We got some delusional people out in this world. And maybe I'm one of them. There's a healthy amount of delusion. But you got to realize there's a little bit of humility that needs to happen. You need to understand. It's okay to be arrogant at times. It's okay to be delusional at times. But come on, dog. What's coming out of your mouth? Is it sunshine or darkness? Are you mostly complaining about people? Or are you talking people up? Are you talking people up? There's 2 hallmark indicators to a real friend. 2 hallmark indicators. Number 1, a real friend you can tell bad news to and they listen. I'm not a good friend a lot of the times, but a real friend you can tell bad news to and they won't judge you for it. The second hallmark of a great friend is you can tell them good news and they will light you up. They will tell you how cool you are, how great you are, how much you deserved it. Friends are not people that put you down in front of your face or behind your back when something good happens. Friends are not people that you're unable, that I'm honestly, I feel a little bit of guilt about this because I'm that type of guy that if you give me bad news, I'll probably call you a bitch. I'm not going to lie. I'm just that type of guy, especially with these sunglasses on. I'm understanding, but I'm also going to be real with you. But at the same time, reality is going to hit you in the face. And reality in society is a shittier teacher, a more brutal teacher than is more difficult to deal with than the fear and the hard work that it takes, the fear that you have to overcome and the hard work that it takes to get over yourself. We're going to take a quick break to let you know that this episode has been brought to you by Tegler Audio, based out of Berlin. Tegler makes fantastic analog pieces of equipment, everything from compressors, both tube, VCA as well, from reverbs to recording channel strips to tube summing mixers, and to my favorite piece that I personally own and have and use is the Schwerkraft machine, which is digitally controlled compression, 11 different types of compressors. I mean, this thing is built to the brim with tubes and transformers. It's fantastic. They have digitally controlled analog gear, which I'm a huge fan of. They've got 2 different pieces of that. They've got 500 series gear. So whether you're a tracking engineer, mixing engineer, or a mastering engineer, you need to check out this high quality company, Tegler. And guess what? Their prices, they're not crazy. They're mid-range prices for high-end equipment. They're like a fantastic company. We love them so much. And if you want 10% off any of their gear, you can go to their website directly or from their shop directly, or I'll link it in mixingmusicpodcast.com/Tegler, Tegler, and use the code MMPOD to get 10% off your next order. Now back to the show. Now the type of person who is going to stand up for anything while looking that dragon right in the face. The dragon of laziness. The dragon, the beast of eating whatever you want. The dragon of not looking at how you spend money. It's tough to look at that bank account, especially when you know there's nothing in it. It takes a responsible motherfucker to look at that shit. Look it right in the eye and realize I need to make budgets this month. Now that's a real hardworking man and woman. And that is the type of person that I will always try to put in the game. I will actively work against you if you are rude, if you are mean, if I hear you talking too much shit. I will actively work against you, and people at the top will work against you. And this is the real shit. If there is gatekeeping, it's this. We don't want people to come to the top with low-life mentality. And that low-life mentality is pulling people that are trying to climb out of the bottom of the barrel, pulling people down. We don't want that shit at the top and keep you out. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is going to be a little bit brutal here. I met a lot of really cool, hardworking people that deserve the world and more. I'm also not going to lie to you. I've met a lot of losers. Losers that think that they can't fathom why they didn't get the shot. Or if they got the shot, the one chance to prove themselves, they weren't able to follow through. They can't understand, but now they spend the rest of their life complaining. We all know losers like that. But here you are listening to this podcast, trying to get your education straight, trying to get better because you actually fucking care. Now that is being human at its finest. Being human at its finest. Take responsibility. You got to earn happiness. Remember your ancestors. I'm serious. If you tell your great-great-grandpa, if you went back in time and you told them that you have pet insurance, they're going to laugh at you, dog. My great-great-grandpa was probably in some sort of fucking civil war killing their siblings. They're like, we ain't got no time to think about pet insurance. We had time to talk about how to handle grief. That's some dark shit. But that's life. That's life. It's dark at times. It's difficult. More people, it is uncommon to never be depressed in your life. In fact, it's extremely rare. Never happens. Everybody gets depressed, severe depression at some point in their life. And I hope you get through it. You will get through it. The great news about all this, and I always end with this, I try to end with as much love as possible, is that if you can make it through, you will be able to look back and realize how hard it was, but also realize you are the type of person who was able to waddle, to crawl, to get through the mud and survive. And if that is not better ammunition for the future, if that is not better motivation for anything else in this life, if that doesn't instill confidence about your ability to make mistakes, to move on, to improve, I don't know what will. You got to get hurt. I'm looking, my boy just turned 5 yesterday. My oldest boy just turned 5 yesterday. There's a lot of thoughts about this. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of someone bullying him. I'm terrified that I might accidentally bully him in the ideas, in the hidden under the cloak of good intentions. I'm hoping that I can be a great father for him. I'm hoping that I will, because I had bad parents growing up. I didn't have a good example. I only had bad examples. And I want my son to have a good life. And I have come to the conclusion, we're all wrong, I have no idea what I'm doing, but what I'm deciding, the conclusion that I've come to, what I've decided to do is to allow my son to make decisions and allow my son to suffer the consequences, no matter how much it hurts me. If he gets punched in the face at school, he may have deserved it, he may not have. I don't know. We're going to figure this out. We're going to make him strong. I cannot coddle him his whole life. I want to give him the best life. I do. And I'm sure most parents here wanted that for you. But it's time for the real world. And the real world is sometimes cold and cruel. It's filled with valid excuses. And here you are, ready to overcome the world. I tweeted this last week. Years of grinding pays off. Years of grinding pays off. Good things have been happening for me recently, as of late. And this year has been one of the best years for me financially, as well as for my career. Best years ever. Years of grinding pays off. Years of grinding pays off. Having virtue, being virtuous pays off. Having good character pays off. Being honest with yourself and others pays off. Being friendly pays off. Being understanding pays off. Being a good hang pays off. Going to the gym or exercising pays off. Eating healthy pays off. Paying off your debts literally pays off. And sometimes, it starts with waking up and brushing your teeth. That's where it starts. Take responsibility, one bit at a time. I'm not saying go run a marathon. I'm not saying that. In fact, man, you got to have some shitty ass parents to even want to run a marathon. That's fucked up. You got to be some kind of masochist to want to run a marathon. There's no logical reason to run a marathon. I'm going to tell you right now. There's no logical reason. It's just crippling insecurity is driving the legs of all these marathon runners. That's what it is. Well, you think it's angels pushing us to the finish line, motherfucker? These are demons. These are demons pushing us to these finish lines. I do not know where I was going with that, so I'm gonna back off. Oh man. Hot take: Antares sounds better when low latency mode is off. It does run smoother. Another hot take. I don't know if this is a hot take, but these are actually just factual pieces of advice here. Maddie Kid 17. Real shit. If you are using Antares Autotune, go to makesmusicpodcast.com/autotune for the best discount that I can possibly give you. At whatever that is at the time. Whenever you're listening to this podcast. Here's the deal. Also, turning on, not changing anything, leaving it at 0, but turning it on the, not tracking, the on and off for, what's that button on the top right? The format shift? The format shift, just turn it on, then you'll get less pops and clicks, if that is an issue. It'll be a little bit cleaner. It works better when the format shift is on. Don't move it, just turn it on. I don't know why, but it happens. It happens. All right. I think this has been a good episode. And I'm going to get hate for this episode. Of course I will. Of course I'm going to get hate for this episode. You think those that are looking for scraps at the bottoms get excited about this sort of shit? Nah. The ones utilizing their valid excuses get excited about this sort of topic? Nah. It's you. It's you who stuck around to the end of this episode looking for some granule of information that you can utilize to get better. It's you looking to prove something. It's you looking out of sheer will and passion, sheer strength. And it doesn't have to come from a masculine perspective. I'm going to tell you right now, masculinity, this is what's not about masculinity. This is not about masculinity. There's confusion there. And this is for a whole nother episode. It's not about being more masculine. It's about being more honest with yourself, being more grateful. It's about being human. Anyway. Everyone, it's great to be a human. It can be great. I'm going to tell you right now, I truly believe one of the major purposes of this life is to feel joy and happiness right now. Christianity focuses a lot, Judeo-Christian religions focus a lot on being happy later. But if God really existed, if Buddha's teachings actually work, if Allah is real, every single one of the prophets and gods that have guided us for millennia probably want us to be happy in some shape or form. You got to follow, and it's the universal principles. Happiness does not come from engaging on every single impulsive desire. Every single impulsive decision that you make. Nah. From the times when we killed mammoths and we controlled our impulses and gave our extra mammoth meat to neighboring tribes for the hopes of when they catch their next mammoth, they give us their extra meat, especially when it could be in times of our famine. From the moment of our human existence, we have learned to be kind, slightly selfishly, but we control our impulses. And be kind. We love. We understand. And we push through brutal mortality. And when we push through, we find that the pushing, that the training, that the running, the weightlifting, the hard things is the spice of life. Spice of life. It's what makes life so happy. I genuinely believe that from my personal understanding of what it is like to be human on this world, I believe that heaven can be nothing other than what it is right now, filled. How can I have infinite happiness without infinite misery? Because with infinite misery, I get to appreciate and have gratitude for the infinite happiness when I know what's out there. The happiest I've ever been in my life was directly after the most depressed I've ever been in my fucking life. I know many of you might relate. I've been suicidal before. It's not fun. It's not fun. Not fun. You get help. Your life is valuable. Be kind, understanding. Stand up for yourself. Be assertive. Tell the honest truth. Try to find joy in this life. And I think the actual joy and satisfaction that it comes starts with taking responsibility one little thing at a time. It's not a plugin. It's not a gold record. It's not a Grammy. It's not a hit record. It's not 1 million plays. It's not 10 billion monthly listeners. It's about knowing that you deserve that shit. Because you worked fucking hard for it. Yin and yang, my brothers and sisters. Yin and yang. All right, and with that, pretty crazy episode. Me just spewing bullshit here. I wish you, well, first off, please leave a 5-star review. Please leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever the fuck you're listening on. YouTube, leave a like and subscribe. You've made it this far. Come on. Do me a solid. And on that note, I say, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy.